Hey everybody, I am a little bit late doing this Facebook Live, so thanks for joining me. Hopefully we get some people to watch this. I'll give it just a second here to get started. Got a lot of things on the plate today, so for those of you who are out there in the ether, I'll give it just a second here. So I want to talk about a number of things, starting with censorship. So I'm doing this Facebook Live on my new Detmer for Congress auxiliary page. Facebook has done a number on my accounts. The main thing was the Mike Detmer Michigan Patriot page is completely locked down, and they've had me locked down for over a week now. And it's probably going to continue that way. I've had numerous conversations via email with Facebook back and forth, and they're just playing games. They're stringing along. So I've had to create this page, and we're going to move forward with it for as long as we possibly can. So if you know anybody, I am sending out invites to follow this. The other page, the Mike Detmer Michigan Patriot page, had over 10,000, still has over 10,000 followers. So if and when Facebook ever releases the lockdown on that, then we'll revert back to that page, and I'll actually change the name to Detmer for Congress there. And I want to talk about the campaign. So on Monday, I announced the new campaign for U.S. Representative in Michigan's 8th Congressional District. Alyssa Slotkin, Representative Slotkin, is the incumbent. And folks, she is not what she claims to be. Alyssa claims to be a moderate. We all know that she's not, at least those of us living in Michigan's 8th District. The little game, the stunt that she played with the elections, with the election of the Speaker of the House, where she abstained from voting for Nancy Pelosi or McCarthy, that was just a dog and pony show. Her real true colors came out with not just the first impeachment of President Trump, but with the second impeachment as well. And then her voting record, folks, is atrocious. If you look at the overall voting records of Alyssa Slotkin, and if you look at the voting records of people like AOC, Alyssa is much more liberal than AOC. Beyond that, she came out after my announcement the other day on full attack. She sent a massive email blast out to all of her donors, and I even got the email blast, which was funny enough, attacking me, using me, calling me everything but a human being on this email to raise funds. So, you know, she understands that her time in the U.S. Capitol is going to be limited. And this campaign moving forward is going to be much more robust than the last go-around. We've learned a lot. We know what to expect. We know what we have to do. We're going to be doing some things that are completely outside the box, some amazing things with this campaign as we move forward. So the first big hurdle is getting around the social media censoring that's going on. And it's not just Facebook, it's Twitter too. One of the big misconceptions, and I hear and see people say this all the time, well, Facebook and Twitter are violating my First Amendment rights. Actually, they're not. These are private companies, and that's the real rub here. There's no contractual agreement when you sign up with Facebook or you sign up with Twitter or any of these social media platforms. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. What these social media platforms do, though, is that they offer their services. You have to follow their guidelines even if you can't make sense of them. And you're there at their leisure as basically an audience for their advertisers. So where they make their money is if a company wants to advertise, that company spends money on the advertising to get that stuff out to you for you to buy their products. That's how they make their money. So this idea that even though I don't like it, I mean, they're shutting me down. They've shut conservatives down across the board. If you are a conservative, or if you post anything that's conservative, if you post scripture, if you post pro Donald Trump, if you post anything Republican, if you post anything with the word patriot in it, you're liable to be censored, if not unpublished or deleted. That's happened on Twitter. Now, a lot of people are leaving Twitter, but Twitter's also taken a lot of people out of their account. I had almost 25,000 followers on Twitter, down to 16.3. Even the people I'm following have vanished by the thousands. So that's all going on. What's the recourse? Is suing them the recourse? Every lawsuit that's been filed against Facebook and Twitter, most of them, I won't say every, most of them have failed because they're not violating constitutional laws. The Constitution, the First Amendment, protects us from the government infringing our speech, not a private company. And so they can set the terms of whatever they want. The solution here is, and we saw what happened, by the way, with Parler, and it's about to happen. There's rumors that Amazon and Google are going to do the same thing with some of these other networks out there. Like I'm on MeWe, I'm on Stout Hub, I think that's the name of it. So trying to expand a little bit with those groups too. They're just not big enough. They don't have the server capacity to handle. I've tried to get on Gab and have been unsuccessful thus far. But the solution here is that we've got to have a consortium of big investors to help these companies like Parler to set up independent servers and not be reliant on Amazon or Google to host these servers. That's the only way. We have to create a free market, true free market situation. There's got to be competition. And I think these other networks, these other pages, these other companies would be very successful if they're not being stifled by big tech. The problem we run into is that almost all of these CEOs and companies are run by leftists. Google, Amazon, Facebook, Twitter. And so if you're a conservative company that puts out a platform to compete with them, and we saw that with Parler, these other big companies that host these servers can just shut you down. And then it's up to you to sue. So I mean, that's the problem. So the solution here is that we've got to have conservatives with money to put together the server capacity to help fund these things. And I think President Trump has even talked about it. Hopefully someone like him will step up to do just that. That's the solution here. We've got to have competition, and that will put a big dent into what Facebook and Twitter and Instagram are doing. And here's the thing. This is the real crappy part of the stick. If you're on Twitter and you're a conservative and you talk about conservative things, they can shut you down. But yet on Twitter, you can post pornography. I mean, if you're not careful and you're scrolling through Twitter, you're going to run into it. That's perfectly acceptable. That's terrible. But that's what leftists do. And there lies the problem. The Biden administration, a lot of people are panicked about that. Joe Biden has issued a pile of executive orders, and these things are, a lot of them are being challenged. State of Texas, one of his executive orders, which was basically opening the gates for illegal immigration, the state of Texas sued, and right now they have a slight injunction, so small victory there. But a lot of these executive orders, which are not America First, are going to be challenged. So that is the good news. That's the upshot there. The Democrats in Congress, in the U.S. House and U.S. Senate, have made it very clear also to the Biden administration, just like his immigration plan that he's put forth, they're putting the skids on a lot of it because they know that it's going to cost them their job in the House or the Senate. So, and that brings me to another issue. Folks, I've been listening to a lot of folks and having discussions with a lot of people about our election and election integrity. And I'm hearing a lot of people say, I'm never voting again. On top of saying I'm never voting Republican again, and I get that. But a lot of people are saying my voice doesn't matter, my vote doesn't matter, I'm not voting again. Folks, that's a big mistake. Don't go down that road. I've looked at the election. I've been in the weeds with this. The nefarious actors targeted soft targets like Detroit, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Milwaukee to do their dirty work. And it was focused on the presidency. They absolutely wanted to get rid of Donald Trump. So they didn't affect the down ballot. And here's one of the tells from that. In those areas, like Detroit and Philadelphia, Biden did upwards of 95% better than the other Democrats on the ballot, which means that there were a whole pile, thousands and thousands of ballots going through, with just Joe Biden's name checked. So the efforts there were on the presidency. They weren't focused on down ballot. We kept and actually gained seats in the U.S. House. We gained seats in state legislatures, not just here in Michigan, but across the country, all the local level stuff. And by the way, folks, that's where we change the election. That's where we change this. This is where we fix the voting, is at the local level, the state legislature, and even U.S. Congress. One of the things I'm going to roll out as priority number 1 is national voter ID. Period. Has to happen, along with a full comprehensive plan from the federal level, from Congress, to fix these elections, because we have to restore election integrity. We have to restore confidence. Because even though they targeted the presidency this time, it doesn't mean that they can't get more sophisticated next time and steal the whole thing. I have no doubts that that's possible moving forward. The time is now. And in the meantime, because we got 2 years for the next election, in the meantime, we have to keep up the pressure on our state legislature and the U.S. Congress, and even at the local level, the clerk's office, to fix things. And by the way, this whole issue with Dominion, for instance, Michigan signed the contract to bring Dominion in back in 2017. That was under the Snyder administration. That was under the old Secretary of State and Attorney General. All right, so the state of Michigan brought Dominion in. Does not mean that each county has to use Dominion. The state signed the contract, and then counties, there's actually 3 different voting systems that each county can use. Most of the counties in Michigan signed on with Dominion. Why? Because they were cheaper. Now, in the 8th District where I'm at, which includes Ingham County, Livingston County, and the northern part of Oakland County, neither Livingston nor Oakland County use Dominion, but Ingham County does. So you have to contact your Board of Commissioners in whatever county you live in. And I posted a map on my Mike Detmer, my personal page, which shows every county that Dominion's in. Start there. Then you've got to start calling your state legislature, your state legislators, and tell them to revoke the contract and bring somebody else in new, or use the other 2, which are fine. But when other states, like the state of Texas, denies Dominion on 3 different occasions on 3 different years because they are hackable and they're not good, it should have sent up some red flags for the state of Michigan. But the idiots there didn't even bother to look at it. They just saw a good price and they said, sure, let's do it. So whether you believe Dominion was responsible or not, let's just even pretend for a second that there was no issue with Dominion. The cloud over this, they need to go. You have to get rid of it, because, and I believe there was an issue there, big issues with Dominion, and I've seen the evidence for it, and there's affidavits, hundreds of them, about it. They have to go. But that starts at the local level. That's how we restore confidence in our election system here in Michigan. And I want to also talk about a couple other things. President Trump, for instance. You know, I hope he's enjoying his golf outings down at Mar-a-Lago. He did an awesome job as president, in my opinion. I am not one of those people who have turned their back on President Trump. And one of the things that Alyssa Slotkin put out in her email blast was accusing me of supporting this insurrection and supporting President Trump. First of all, President Trump did not invoke any insurrection, all right? When he spoke in Washington, D.C., all the things that went down in Washington, D.C. were already pre-planned. I'm just telling you folks that right now. You've got Antifa that was there. You've got BLM that was there. You had some really bad actors there. That was all designed to have that outcome, all right? But beyond that, the U.S. Capitol, just like our state capitol, belongs to the people. If the people want to enter the state capitol or the U.S. Capitol, they have the right to do it. They pay for it. It's their house. It does not belong to the people that we hire to go represent us there. So this idea of now putting fences around all of this stuff is absolutely ludicrous, ridiculous, and it's unconstitutional. So with that in mind, President Trump did not incite any violence. He did not cause anything that went down to happen. And I believe he is not going anywhere. Donald Trump has been in the public eye for almost his entire life. and he's still going to be out there. And I believe he's there's at least one account on Twitter that is him, or at least it's somebody that knows him very well, or really a really big fan. But either way, they have not gotten rid of Donald Trump. And from what it sounds like, he just formed the office of the former president. So he's going to be tweaking these folks for a long time, and that's his right to do that. And I applaud him for that, for not going away. As far as the Republican Party is concerned, I'm hearing a lot of stuff about a third party. You have to look at history. And I put out a statement maybe a week ago about this. There's a big push for this new Patriot Party. And I asked the question, okay, what does the Patriot Party believe? Do we know what their platform is? They don't have a platform yet. But even if they did, there's nothing wrong with the Republican platform. It's a conservative platform. Smaller government, rugged individualism, the pursuit of happiness, pursuit of freedom, and understanding that our Constitution is a covenant, that rights, our God-given and alienable rights, cannot be taken away by government because they weren't given by government. Those are all principles of the Republican platform. The problem is that you've got people who have been elected to office who don't believe that, who don't abide by that. And they use the Republican Party, that banner, to run for an office to win it. And so when we hear things during November elections, general elections, vote red, vote red, vote red, you might not be getting red. You might be getting blue or purple or something else entirely, because all you get are talking points and platitudes. And people have to start digging deeper, whether they start a third party or not. If the Patriot Party, which I see has been reformed and done, let's just pretend that everybody, or 90% or 95% of all the Republican voters out there join and start voting Patriot Party, but 5% remain. Guess what happens? The Democrats keep winning election after election after election. Beyond that, if the Patriot Party takes off, what's going to happen with all the Republicans that are current Republicans now? They're going to join the Patriot Party, and it's a lot of the same scumbags that have caused the problem that we have right now that are going to now be in the Patriot Party. That isn't the solution, in my opinion. The solution is the voters have to start vetting these candidates better. Vet me, ask questions. You cannot just go on the talking points and platitudes. You cannot, just because you believe a certain way, put or project your beliefs on a blank slate and expect them to vote that way. Look what happened on the west side of Michigan. You had Justin Amash, and then you had Peter Meyer, who just got elected, and the first thing he does was vote to impeach President Trump. How many Republican voters who vote for President Trump or voted for President Trump are happy about that? Because we, the people, didn't ask enough questions. And this is why primaries are so important. If you have a situation where you've got several candidates in a primary, ask questions. You got to start voting for the people, the constitutional conservatives, the constitutional patriots who actually put something out there. They may not have the most money, but if those are the people that actually you believe are going to adhere to the Constitution and listen to you, those are the people that you've got to vote for, but you got to show up. You can't say, I'm never voting again. You've got to show up. And the primaries are probably the most important part, if there is one. So the Republican Party's got a lot of work to do if they're going to last. And my solution there is get rid of all the rhinos. You got to get rid of the rhinos. One by one, you got to get rid of them. You got to vet them. You look at their voting records. All that stuff is online. You can look up voting records for everybody. And if they're not doing their thing, then vote for a challenger. Encourage a challenger to them in the primary. Get rid of them. Goodbye. See ya. Sayonara. Folks, moving forward on this campaign, what to expect. Really for the next year, we're going to be building the apparatus. And like I said before, this is going to be a much more robust campaign. We made some mistakes the last go around. We've learned from those. And we're going to do some things differently, some really cool things, outside the box things. So if you want to get involved, and I'm asking people, please get involved, help me out. You can go. I didn't put it on here, but I will post it on here. teamdetmer2022@gmail.com. Email me your information, your contact information, and what you'd like to help out with. Maybe it's later on door knocking. Maybe later on it's phone calling. Maybe it's setting up meet and greets. Maybe it's fundraising. Maybe it's anything. Whatever your expertise is, let me know. Just shoot me an email and let our team know what you'd like to help with. But we're going to be doing a number of things. This page, this auxiliary page, please share it. Please get the word out. I had over 10,000 followers on the Mike Detmer Michigan Patriot page. It took me almost 2 years to get there. I don't think it's going to take as long to get that built back up on this, but we just got to share it. So, and I'm sending invites out to please like and follow the page. A lot of the information that this campaign is going to be putting out will be put out on this page, at least until Facebook unlocks the other one. So, guys, if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Shoot me an email, message me. I'm an open book. I will be putting out some things here too. I had some messages from folks, and I'm also on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube. I'll start doing some live streams from there as well. But I've got to get at least 1,000 subscribers to that page, and I think I'm somewhere around 450 right now. So it's brand new, but follow me on YouTube if you would. The last campaign I put out, the contract with Michigan. This go around, I'm going to put out the pledge with Michigan, and it's going to be much more detailed. These are not just talking points. And I'm behind each one of these line items is going to be a detailed plan, attack plan of what I will go do for you in Washington, D.C., with number one priority being our elections and election integrity. So watch for that. That's coming out soon. And then I'll have, we'll have a really cool website coming. It's not built yet, but that's on the block right now that we're putting together. So all that stuff will be at the website here probably in the next few weeks. So love you all. Stay safe. Keep your chins up. This is a long battle, and I'm in this with you for the long haul. I love you all. Talk to you soon.